Hello everyone, this is Lexicon Architect coming at you with a new video for EDH slash Commander. And today we're going to be doing Druids Typal. So this deck was recommended to me by one of my friends. So I did a Tumblr poll last night, and the two options were either Rebels or Druids. And Druids is the one that won the poll. So this is the deck that I built earlier today. So let's get into it. Let's see what the deck does. So we are playing, our commander is Centon Crocian Protector. It is 3 green mana that says tap and untap Druid you control to add green to your mana pool. So this commander, just through inspection of it, is very disgusting, because you can play this on turn 3, maybe on turn 2. No, you can't do it on turn 2, I don't think, unless we start off with a land war elf into another forest. But yeah, it is possible. We can pump this out on turn 3, and then we could tap our untapped druids to add green to our mana pool. So we could tap it itself to add a green. So we have so many ramp cards in here. We play, we're playing the Elvish Mystic, we're playing the Finehorn Elves. We have Heritage Druid to tap on 3 untapped elves to add 3 green to our mana pool. If we need to do that, we can. We have regular Land War Elf. We have Marwyn the Nurturer. And we have a bunch of creatures that have abilities that say, may look at the top card of our library at any time. So Augur Autumn, it's a 3 mana 2/3 that we can play lands from the top of our library. And if we have Coven, which means we would have to have 3 or more creatures with different power, we may also cast creature spells from the top of our library. We play Beast Whisperer because it is a druid, and whenever we cast a creature spell, we draw a card. Circle of Dream Druids, it's a 3 mana 2/1, which is basically Gaia's Cradle, but on a creature. It's a druid itself, and then we can tap it to add 1 green for each creature we control. Craterhoof Behemoth is usually our end game card to win us the game, because for 8 mana, it ETBs with haste, and then it enters the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and get XX till the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures we control. We play Defiler of Vigor because it's a 5 mana 6/6 that has an ability that we can cast green permanent spells to pay 2 life. And those spells cost 1 less to cast if you paid life this way, and this effect reduces only the amount of green mana you pay. And then whenever you cast a green permanent spell, we put a 1/1 counter on each creature we control. Then we're going to be playing Druid of Putrefaction. It's a 4 mana 2/3 that when the ETB is starting with you, each player may choose an artifact or enchantment you don't control to destroy each permanent chosen this way. We have the Elvish Archdruid as a 3 mana 2/2 that pumps our other elves and also taps for green for each elf we control. We play Elvish Pioneer because it's a solid 1-drop for 1/1 that when it ETBs, you may put a basic land onto the battlefield tapped. We play Galagreeters because it's a druid and it is a value train, because whenever another creature ETBs, we could choose a mode that hasn't been chosen. So we could either put a 1/1 counter on it, create a tap treasure token, or gain 2 life. One is a 3 mana 2/3 that allows us to add 2 green to our mana pool as long as it's being spent to cast creature spells or activate abilities for creature or creature card. And then whenever you cast a creature spell with power 5 or greater, you put a 1/1 counter on her and then untap it. We are also playing a 6 mana creature spell named Kamal, Fist of Krosa. It is a druid, and we can tap 1 green to make a target land become a 1/1 creature till the end of the turn that is still land. And then we can tap 5 to give all of our creatures +3/+3 and trample to the end of the turn. We are also playing Kamal, Heart of Krosa. It is an 8-mana 5/5 that says at the beginning of combat on our turn, our creatures will get +3/+3 and gain trample until the end of the turn. So this is huge. You could just swing out and kill multiple people if you really want to. You can also tap 2, and then until the end of the turn, target land becomes a 1/1 elemental creature with vigilance, indestructible, and haste. So we can play this, and then we can make a land, and then the land will be a 4/4 at that point, and then you can attack with that, since this will have Summoning Sickness. But even so, if this sticks around for a turn or two, things will get pretty nutty for you. We're also playing Karametra's Acolyte. So it's a 4-mana 1/4 that adds an amount of green to our mana pool for our devotion to green. We're going to be playing Leaf Crown Visionary. It's a 2-mana 1/1 that gives our other elves +1/+1. And then whenever we cast an elf spell, we may pay 1 green. And if we do, we draw a card. We're playing Leafkin Druid as a dork. It's a 2-mana 0/3 that adds 1 green. But if we control 4 more creatures, it's at 2 green instead. We're playing Landward Tribe. It's a 3-mana 3/3 that when we tap it, add 3 green mana. Landward Visionary as another. You can add any amount. You can add an amount of green equal to her power. Mass Vandal as a shapeshifter, and mostly because it's of ability, when it ETBs, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment and opponent controls. Realm Walker is another changeling shapeshifter, 3 mana for a 2/3. You choose a creature type, and then you can look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library. And then the last 3 creatures are some more heavy hitters. So we have a 7-mana 5/5 that when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card for each green creature you control. Silverback Elder is a 5-mana 5/7 that says whenever you cast a creature spell, you may choose one. You can either destroy a target artifact or enchantment, or you can look at the top 5 cards of your library and put a land up from among them onto the battlefield tapped. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in random order, or you can gain 4 life. And then finally we have Soul of the Harvest. It is a 6-mana 6/6 with trample that says whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. So as far as sorceries, we're playing Cultivate for ramp, Harmonize for draw power, Harvest Season for ramp, Kodama's Reach for ramp, Nature's Lore for ramp, Rampant Growth for ramp, and then 3 visits. Then we have a spell that we want to wait until we can dump a ton of mana into this. So basically Genesis Wave, whatever you pay for X, you look at the top X cards of your library, and you may put any number of permanent cards with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield, and then put all the cards revealed this way that weren't put onto the battlefield into your graveyard. Then we play Overrun. It's a 5-mana spell that gives our creatures +3/+3 and trample. And then we also have a card that does something kind of similar, but this one says until the end of turn, creatures you control gain trample and +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. And as far as instants, we're going to be playing a new card I never saw before called Benefactor's Draught. It's a 2-mana instant that untaps all of our creatures. And then until the end of the turn, whenever a creature an opponent control blocks, you draw a card and you draw a card. Court of the Calling is another way to get our Crater Hoof out of our deck, because it says you can search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. Play Heroic Intervention for protection. We play Crocian Grip to destroy an artifact or enchantment. We play Return of the Wild Speaker to either draw cards or give non-humans +3/+3. And we play Tamiyo Safekeeping for protection. So for artifacts, we're going to be playing Signet, Commander Sphere, the Cantlets of the Endless Water, Door of Destinies to pump our Druids, Emerald Medallion to make green spells cost 1 less, Hero Horn to make Druids cost 1 less and allow us to look at the top card of our library. Lightning Greaves for protection, Nyx Lotus for ramp, Skull Clamp for draw, Soul Ring for ramp, Throne of the God Pharaoh to drain opponents for each creature that's tapped at our end step, and Vanquisher's Banner to give a chosen creature type +1/+1. And then whenever we cast a creature spell of the chosen type, we draw a card. As far as enchantments, we're going to be playing Beastmaster's Ascension, because as long as we can get 5 counters on this, I mean, no, not 5, sorry, 7 counters on it, creatures we control will get +5/+5. Then we play Elven Chorus because it allows us to look at the top card of our library. We may cast creature spells from the top, and creatures we control have add 1 mana of any color. Growing Rites of Iltimak is another Gaia's Cradle for us. So when it ETBs, we look at the top 4, reveal a creature card among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. At the beginning of our end step, if you control 4 more creatures, we transform it. And then basically, you can either add 1 green to your mana pool or add 1 green to your mana pool for each creature you control. We play Guardian Project to draw a card, Kenra's Transformation to deal with a problematic creature to make it lose all abilities, and we'll draw a card. Lignify is kind of the same thing, but no draw, but it will make them a 0/4 tree folk with no abilities. Trivia of the World Tree can act as to give us counters or to draw cards. Utopia Sprawl to get more mana out of our forest, and then Wild Growth to get more mana out of our forest. And then finally, as for lands, Castle Garenbrig is our utility land that we can tap for 4 and add 6 green, which can only be spent on creature spells or to activate abilities of creatures. We have 1 Reliquary Tower to give us no maximum hand size, Mosswork Bridge to hide away 4, and then you can play the exile card if you control creatures with power 10 or greater for free, and then 32 Forests. So that's the deck in a nutshell. This is a lot more expensive than what I do, but like I said in the quote on Moxfield, the term budget can be used in any way that you feel fit. Like if you feel like a deck between 300 to 500 is budget, then it's budget to you because it's subjective and we all have different opinions. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It will be uploaded to YouTube shortly with all my social media links. Please leave a like or subscribe, and I'll catch you tomorrow.